our last day, I understand.
Yes.
And, of course, Mr. Bill and I are old guys, and we like preaching to young guys, and you guys had to suffer through it. So, good luck. I want to talk about airspace, and mainly where you can get some idea. Hey man, how you doing?
We've got a GPS.
I may have one. I think I'll ask. What did it say?
Something 16 something, I don't know.
The main reason I want to talk about airspace is its regulations. You're going to have to learn, and you've already learned a lot of this, is if you want to make it in life, you're going to have to understand regulations. Because the government can control your life and will control your life. You need to understand how you can do what the regulations want you to do and still have a decent life. Airspace is a good way to do that. There's a lot, and also all of the work that goes into and the research that goes into building something as complicated as controlling the airspace over our country and over our world. How do we do that? How do we get out? It's a very complicated system, and there's a lot to it. And there's been a lot of thought going in there. Like, if you're on the interstate, have any of you ever driven to North Carolina? Texas? Okay. How about you? You drive on the interstate. The interstate's laid out. You stay on the right side. You got northbound lanes and you got southbound lanes. Or you got eastbound lanes and westbound lanes. Well, we got the same thing in the sky. It's the same stuff. Before the GPS, we used primarily VORs to navigate, to get from Pensacola to North Carolina. We used the VOR. And the range on the VOR, I don't know if you remember it or not, it says it's 40 miles. 40 miles one way, and then you pick up another VOR and tune it in, and it's 40 miles. So 80 miles. So it goes in 80-mile legs, basically, from one VOR to another, if you can maintain line of sight. Line of sight. What does line of sight mean? What does that mean? What's line of sight mean? Lay it on you. You gotta have an idea. Tell me what you think. You don't know. I don't believe that. You know. Come on, tell me something.
Line of sight.
Line of sight. If you can see something. Now I can see that tree sticking up over there. But I don't think you can, because that slides in your line of sight. Does that make sense? Okay. Can you see that tree sticking up? Just barely. It's just that you can see, all right? So what we did is we connected the VORs together. We put one VOR and another VOR, and we made what we call an airway. And we give those airways a number. Down below 18,000 feet, we call them Victor Airways. V for Victor. Victor Airways. We give them numbers, and they're on there. Open up your chart. Get Pensacola on there. Go to Pensacola. Put your finger on Pensacola. Okay? Alright? I want you to go straight north, and you're going to hit the blue line. Right there. See what I'm talking about? Put your finger there. Go straight north to Pensacola. You're going to hit a blue line. See that blue line? Right there? Okay. See that blue line? Alright. Come left, following that blue line, and you come to a place over there that says Pine Barren. And just to the left of that, you see some numbers. Right there. Those numbers right there. You got it? What are they? What are those numbers? Right there. $198 and dash 241. You buy that? That's an interstate in the sky. That's Victor for visual. VFR. 198. Victor 198. That's an interstate in the sky. Where do these interstates start? They start off in our part of the world. The base it varies for various reasons I don't want to get into. But let's say the base is 3,000 feet. If the base of the Victor Airway here is 3,000 feet, and we go to Denver, Colorado, field elevation is 5,500 feet. So if we fly at 3,000 feet, direct west to Denver, Colorado, what's going to happen? We're below the dirt. So we're going to hit the dirt somewhere in between here and there. You buy that? Okay, for that reason, the terrain slopes up in terrain. What does terrain mean? You know what terrain means? What's terrain mean? Terrain. Does that mean anything to you? Okay, the terrain is the ground out here. What do I call that? The surrounding terrain of this area. T-A-R-A-I-N, terrain. It's the surrounding area. So the terrain is higher. That means the ground is higher than we are flying if we stay at 3,000 feet on our altimeter. So we got to climb to keep from hitting the ground if we want to go to Denver. So consequently, the bases are variable. That means they move up and down. The base of airways and the base of a lot of the airspace is variable. So we call it above ground level, AGL. AGL is above ground. Our altimeter is set on sea level, mean sea level, MSL. We set the altimeter on sea level. So in Pensacola, that's not a big deal because sea level is about the same as we are. I think right here we're maybe 30 feet above sea level. I'm not sure what it is, but it's something close like that. So, as we move west or north, if we're going to North Carolina and we get up around Atlanta, Atlanta's 2,000 feet. Oops. So we've got to figure out, we've got to maintain the appropriate levels there. And you have to keep that into account when you're flying certain areas. So, that's part of the problems we have to deal with in setting up airspace. So, in the old days, we used to say, Victor Airways are going to take you to wherever you want to go. You can follow a Victor Airway, or you can, and we call it, look out the window and follow the interstate. Now they got interstate. When I started flying, they didn't have interstate. You just, off you go. I'm ancient history, I'm an old guy. So, if you follow, you can look out the window and there's an interstate. Okay, if the visibility is good. If the visibility is not good, and you can't see the interstate, you got to rely on your instruments. But you can see around you. That means the visibility is good. The FAA and the regulatory agencies that regulate the airspace are going to have to come up with something that defines absolutely what are minimum visibility requirements. And they have. Minimum visibility requirements for VFR flight is 1,000 feet above the ground and 3 miles visibility. That's 1,000 feet above the ground and 3 miles visibility. So, if you look in the weather report and the weather report says you've got 1,003, that means it's VFR. Right there at that spot. 3 miles is not very far when you're going 120 miles an hour. Well, let's take a look at this. Just how fast does it take us? How quickly can we go 3 miles if we're going 120 miles an hour? Okay? 120 miles an hour. How long does it take? How far do we go in 1 minute? So, how many minutes are in an hour? 60 minutes in an hour. You buy that? Okay. Maybe. Okay. Don't throw anything. Okay. 60 minutes. All right, what did I say? 60 miles. All right. If we're going, so it takes us, if we're going to go 120 miles an hour, there's 60 minutes in an hour. How many miles are we going to go in 1 minute? And how do we calculate that? If we've got 120, and how many times is 60 going to 120? 2 times. That girl. You're not mad at me. Good. I'm glad. Okay. 2 miles. Right? In 1 minute. So we've just calculated in our mechanical superior brain that we're going to go 2 miles a minute if we're going 120 miles an hour. we're going 2 miles a minute. If we're going 2 miles a minute and we're looking out the window and the visibility is 3 miles, how long is it going to take us to reach the limit of that visibility? In other words, if there's another airplane heading directly for us, and we're running like we were in the wrong lane on the interstate, and a car's coming at us, and we're going towards it, we're going to run into each other. How soon? So if we're going 2 miles in 1 minute, and we spend a minute, that means we've covered 2 miles, we've got 3 miles separation, we got another mile, and then we're going to be together. You buy that? We're going to hit each other if we're closing head on. Okay. 30 seconds is going to take us a half a minute or 30 seconds to get that other mile. Does that make sense? Okay? All right. So, in a minute and a half, if we're not looking real close, and there's an object out there that is not moving, we're going to hit it in a minute and a half. If it is moving at 120 miles towards us, 120 miles an hour, so that means we're going to cut all of that in half. So he's coming as fast as we are, we're going as fast as he is, so our closure rate, what's closure? Closure is when the distance between two objects come together. That's the closure. All right? As that distance gets closer, the closure rate means how fast things happen. So the closure rate is pretty fast. So that means if we're 120, they're 120, we're coming head on, instead of covering 2 miles a minute, we're going to cover 4 miles a minute. Does that make sense? You buy that? You sure? Okay. So that means stuff's going to happen fast. Real fast. So, what we do is we say, all right, if we're on the airway and we are going west, we travel, and we are above 3,000 feet. If we're above 3,000 feet, AGL, that means if we're in Denver, we're above 8,000 feet. Or if we're in Pensacola, we're above 3,000 feet, or 3,100. So we're going to travel, if we're going westbound, we are going to be at an even altitude plus 500 feet. So that means if we're going westbound, we're going to be at 3,500 feet for VFR traffic. If somebody is going eastbound, we're going to be at 4,500 feet. If somebody is going eastbound, they're going to be at 3,500. East is odd, west is best. East is odd, west is best. For VFR plus 500. If you're IFR, if you're on the instruments, you're going to be at that altitude. In other words, if I'm going westbound and I am IFR, instrument flight rules, I'm going to be at 4,000 feet. VFR traffic going that same direction is going to be at 4,500. If it's coming the other way, it's going to be at 3,000 feet for IFR traffic, and for VFR traffic, it's going to be at 3,500. Make sense? So somebody's put a lot of thought in this. Somebody's put all this stuff together. So now we're going to keep from running into each other. That's good. But we've still got to look outside. We don't just up there flying around doing our thing. We've got to do that. And if we're on an airway, now that the GPS has come along and the air traffic control system, in other words, radar is really covering basically the entire United States. There's a couple of places out west that it's not covered. I'm going to get into that. So, radar, you've got a controller that you can talk to. You talk to this guy on the radio, he can catch you on his radar, and he can see where you are. Now the regulations, here we are, regulations which make our world, has required that we have an instrument in our airplane, a piece of equipment that costs right at $7,000, that tells the controller's radar how high we are to the foot, exactly where we are. They can pick it up on their radar, who we are, what our aircraft number is, what our registration number is, how we are carried on the database of the Federal Aviation Government agencies, and all of that information. You've got to have that piece of equipment to fly around in certain airspace. Certain airspace. Well, what designates that? Okay. Is it more likely that you can bump into somebody walking if you're in Walmart at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 days before Christmas, as compared to if you're on Pensacola Beach at midnight? Which of those situations is it more likely that you're going to bump into somebody? Walmart, yes. Why? There's more people all over the place. So, what are the chances of us bumping into somebody at Pensacola Airport as opposed to bumping into somebody at Atmore? What do you think? Pensacola Airport, yeah. Because there's more traffic, there's more things going on, there's commercial operations coming in, there's people out there training and everything. You don't have all that stuff going on in Atmore. So, if we're going to make a regulation, where is it going to be the most restrictive? Near an airport or out in the boondocks? What do you think? Near an airport, because there are more airplanes flying in. Okay. The landing speed on a Cessna 172, the final approach speed is right at 72 knots. Somewhere in that area. The final approach speed on a Boeing 757 is 180 knots. So if we're landing at the same airport as a Boeing 7, well, that's not the final approach, because that's when you leave the mark and so forth and so on. But it's faster. Take my word. Okay. So, if you are flying around in an airplane that is going to have to slow down to 72 knots to touch the ground in the same airspace with somebody that's going to be going 180 knots, and he's a whole lot bigger and a whole lot heavier and a whole lot meaner than you are. So we're going to have different rules. Does that make sense? So if you're the rule maker and you've got to make rules, you're going to make sure the big guys have got rules that will take care of them, and also this is still a free country. I don't know for how long, but it's still a free country. And also, the little guy in 172 has got to be able to get into that same airport. So, we've got to combine these things together. Now we throw in visibility. If you're going to pay $340 to fly from Atlanta to Pensacola, and the weather is a little bit rainy, and you can't see very well, do you want them to cancel a flight? No. They're going to come down here. They can't see well. You've got capabilities in airplanes to where you can fly them and you can't see. You fly them on the instruments, and it works. It works great. Believe me, I made a living doing it. I still do. Okay. So we've got to have visual reference rules and instrument reference rules. So if we're going to have visual flight conditions mean 1,000 foot ceiling and 3 miles visibility at the landing airport. In the airspace flying around, we've got to be able to see and make sure we're not going to run into anybody. So we need at least 3 miles visibility, and we have to maintain 2,000 foot horizontal separation, 2,000 feet. You got a big tape measure that's 2,000 feet long, you stick it out the window and you see where the next cloud is, right? What do you mean here? Come on, you kidding me? You don't have a tape measure. You just got to guess at it. There it is. Okay. 2,000 foot horizontal visibility, 1,000 foot above, and 500 feet below. Any cloud. If you're going to operate under visual flight rules, VFR. Anything less than that in visibility is instrument flight rules, IFR. So, we've got this set of rules to fly mainly because we got to accommodate its airspace. It belongs to the United States. We can use it. We are citizens. And we need to be able to use it. So as long as we use it and comply with those rules, we're okay. It's the same way in your life. There's a lot of things you're going to have to comply with certain rules. Some of these rules are government regulations. Some of them are social. Some of them, and the most important ones, Mama makes. And the rules that Mama makes are the rules you're going to follow. My advice to you is Mama makes a rule, you had best follow that rule. If you want to break a rule, don't break Mama's rule. You're going to have a problem. It don't work. Believe me, I know. Okay, so, now that we got all of this, where do we do all of this? Now around here, because we're so close to the Navy base and the Blue Angel, and we're fairly close to the airport out there, do you see large, big airplanes flying around low? Do you? No, you don't. How about, do you? No. So, why do the big airplanes fly high? The big airplanes have developed the turbine engine, the jet engine. The jet engine burns huge amounts of fuel. It's basically diesel fuel is where it is. And they burn a lot of it. It burns. The reason that is as you get closer to the ground, the surface, all of the air on top of the low air, it's like you playing football and you get tackled and 10 guys jump on top of it. They're putting pressure on you. They're squashing you. Make sense? You buy that? Okay, they're putting pressure on you. Okay. Air does that. The closer to the ground, the higher the pressure. The more it's pushing on you. The air. That's what the air is doing. In order to get an engine to produce power, it has to burn fuel and air mixed together. Fuel and air mixture. The right amount of fuel has got to combine with the right amount of air. So, down low, near the surface, if you've got more pressure, you've got more air piled on top of you, and that means, are you going to burn more or less fuel? What does it mean? You're going to burn more fuel. You do a PhD? PhD is a, that's an advanced college degree. You graduate from college and then you go to advanced education and you get another degree. It's a doctorate degree. That's what doctors get, lawyers, all over that guy. And you got a smart guy. You got to be a smart guy to get a PhD. Okay, so if down low, you got to mix a lot of fuel to get the right mixture with all that air. Does that make sense? Okay. If you reduce the amount of air, you got to reduce the amount of fuel to keep the mixture correct. If Mama's making cornbread and she puts too much milk in the cornbread, are you going to eat it? No, that's not a good analogy. If Mama makes it, you better eat it. You might not want to, but whatever. It wouldn't be the best. So, because the mixture's not right. Okay. If you go higher, the air and the fuel mixture gets closer to what you're looking for. Does that make sense? Does it or doesn't it? Okay. Also, temperature. The closer you get to the surface of the ground, the higher the temperature. The higher you get away from the ground, the lower the temperature. The lower the temperature, the better the fuel-air mixture burns. So, a very efficient engine in an aircraft that burns fuel, burns less fuel, the higher, less pressure, and the colder, the cold air. So for that reason, jets, big airplanes, go high, real high. That's where they go. Ideally, they're 38, 42, somewhere in that 1,000 feet. The temperature is somewhere around 86 degrees or 60 degrees below zero, somewhere in there. That is the most efficient fuel burner to get that engine to produce power. And sometimes your big airplanes, when they take off, they got so much fuel on board that they reach a certain altitude, like they'll go to 2,000, 20,000, 26,000 feet, 28,000 feet, somewhere in there, and burn off some of that fuel, and then go on up higher because they don't have the power to get higher, and going up higher at 42,000 feet. So you get to 42,000 feet, that's the optimum altitude, that's where everybody wants to be in an airplane that has that capability. For that reason, big, efficient airplanes go high. So, our regulations need to accommodate that. Now, are we going to be flying around at 42,000 feet in a Cessna 172? No, not unless somebody's towing you. No, you're not going to do that. So, smaller airplanes are going to stay down low. A more complicated airplane is going to have a system that will pressurize the cabin to keep the air where you can breathe, to be enough air where you can breathe. In a less complicated airplane, a Cessna 172, you don't have that pressurization system that pressurizes the air that gives you the right amount of breathing air mixture. So, we got to stay below a certain altitude. What's that altitude? 10,000 feet. We just make a blanket statement. Below 10,000. Below 10,000, we got a lot of regulations. Above 10,000, we got other regulations. And then we get into the really big guys above 18,000 feet. So, we've got our regulations that require how to operate at those altitudes. And that's what we've got there. So, keeping in mind what we call the direction. East is odd, west is best. Even altitude plus 500, odd altitude plus 500. And our instrument regulations is even altitude, odd altitude. That's the way your directional flight. We call that the hemispherical rule. Hemisphere. The hemisphere is we take the Earth and whack that sucker in two. Just like cutting open an orange. And one side we call the hemisphere, or the bottom, the hemisphere, and there's another hemisphere. So the hemispherical rule to keep airplanes separated is anything above 3,000 feet, AGL, eastbound will fly at an odd altitude if it's visual regulations plus 500. Westbound will fly at an even altitude above 3,000 feet, and that's the way that works. That's the way we keep things separated. Does any of this make sense? My reason for making you sit through all of this is, guys, there's a lot that goes on that you're not aware of that governs your life. Most of it is good. So you need to be aware of that. As you move along and as you get involved in the educational system, as you get involved in the business system, there's a lot of rules out there. Are they good for you? Do you know what they are? We're going to get into that. Okay. That stuff gets complicated. And let's take a break. We'll move on into some of this and we'll start getting into the Class B, Class A, and all of that kind of stuff. Any questions? Does any of this make sense? Does this stuff make sense to you? Boring. Yeah, it is. Oh well. It wasn't life's boring. Alright, let's go outside, walk around, jump up and down, get the blood flowing and all that kind of stuff. You got anything, Bill?
No, sir.
Okay. Alright, what I want to do now, I want to go ahead and get into these, get on the screen here and talk about specific types of airspace. And I'm going to ask Mr. we'll stop it as we go. I want to talk about really busy airports, big airports. The thing that you need to remember is visibility is the big deal in aviation. The rules change at certain visibility. If you've got 3 miles visibility, you've got one set of rules. If you've got less than 3 miles, you've got another set of rules. How do you measure that visibility? The regulations call it flight visibility. There's one person in the entire universe that can measure flight visibility. And that is the pilot in command of the airplane at that point in that situation. Not the controller. He doesn't know what the flight visibility is. Not the tower guy. Not somebody on the ground. It's the flight visibility is measured by the pilot in command at that point in time in a specific situation. Okay. Firing up there, Mr. Bill. Let's see what
Talk just a little bit about the various charts that we have available. There are 3 in particular worth mentioning. The first one, and the one most commonly used, that you'll use most often, is called the sectional chart. And you're looking at, of course, the United States here and how they break down the charting by major cities.
All right, now. That's a lot of charts. Look at all those things. This is a big deal, guys. That's a lot of charts. You got one that's a New Orleans chart, and that's right here. But you got all these around there. If you're going to fly from New Orleans to, where do we say? Denver? Yeah, let's go to Denver. You're going to fly up to Denver, you got to go across Texas, Arkansas, all around there. So you're going to need 4 or 5 charts if you're going to do it under visual flight rules. Okay? They need to be up to date. These charts can change basically every 6 months. And when you start talking about instrument charts, they change every 28 days. But that's another story. That's why we're getting involved in all this computer stuff. They've got, what is that, aviation sectional thing? What's the sectionals that's on the computer?
Skydiver?
Huh?
Skydiver?
Skydiver. That's something that covers the entire United States, and that's good stuff. But we've got 4 flight and other things. You put it on the computer, on the iPad, and you don't have to update it and change charts and throw them away and all that. You can update it through a database. Okay. All right, here.
There's 37 sectional charts that make up the lower 48 states. And of course, the Hawaiian Islands, Puerto Rico, and Virgin Islands are available as well. These sectionals are double-sided, and their scale is 1 to 500,000. So they cover some good distance, and they've got great detail on topography and the different kinds of airspace that will be color-coded. We'll be learning all about that. Obstacles, airports, just about everything that you want to have on a good chart. Then there are what's called the terminal area charts, or TAC, T-A-C. And they are in select areas that are the busiest of the busiest areas. And they're demonstrated here by these little gray boxes that we see throughout. So in the Atlanta area, for example, you'll have a terminal chart, and that's going to be twice the scale of a sectional. In other words, 1 to 250,000 scale. So it looks twice as big. And in those complex areas, it's nice to have that better detail. Going the other way is the WAC, or the World Aeronautical Chart. That scale is 1 to 1 million. So if you're planning a long trip and you want to get kind of the bird's eye perspective of your of your trip and your charting, your planning, a WAC or World Aeronautical Chart is a great thing to use. This is an example of a sectional chart. There again, you can see all of the 37
That's what you got in front of
charts
you.
that are
Here's the
dealing with
section.
these regions. We're looking here at the Los Angeles sectional chart. Something important we're pointing out is these are updated. Typically, every 6 to 7 months in some places, like Alaska, I believe it's about 5 months, so you do need to pay attention to the dates, and the dates will be listed up here from this date to this date. So we're going to take a look at airspace. Now the FAA breaks up airspace in two kind of major categories or areas. The first one is class airspace, and that gets an alphabetic designation like A, B, C, and so on. And then there's special use airspace. This would be like military practice areas or areas that are restricted. So we're going to look at both today. But first we're going to start with the class airspace system, A through G. Just giving us a little overview.
Okay. That's a lot of charts. Somebody put a lot of effort into this thing. There's a lot of thought going into this stuff. That's a big operation. Somebody's got to chart all that stuff. Somebody's got to draw all those pictures. Somebody's got to write all those words and all of that. That wouldn't be a bad job to have. So if you want to, that's something you might want to think about. Okay. Now what we got here, right here, here's 18,000 feet. That's where Class A airspace starts. What's going to be happening above 18,000 feet? What kind of airplanes are going to be flying around up there? Big ones. Yes, ma'am. That's correct. Big ones. Why? Why have big airplanes rather go high than low? Yes, sir.
Because it's less pressure.
Less pressure, which allows the engine to do what?
Use up less fuel.
It works better and it's more economical in fuel burn. It's more efficient for the engine with that thing. Yes, that's true. All right, here's another number we're interested in. 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet. MSL. What does MSL mean? MSL. In terms of altitudes. What does AGL mean? Above ground level. So, if we're not talking about above ground level, what are we talking about? Above sea level. Or mean sea level. Mean means the kind of the average. Mean sea level. That's the word mean means that. So, MSL. Our altimeter is set on MSL below 18. At 18, we put it on pressure altitude, 2992. But at 18,000 feet and below, we use the altimeter setting for that area, is what we do. So we're interested in mean sea level. Okay, we got non-towered airport. We got Class B airport, Class C airport, and Class D airport. Class B is much more traffic. Big airplanes landing and lots of them. Atlanta, New Orleans, Orlando, Miami, New York City, Dallas, Fort Worth, Los Angeles. Those are big airports, Class B. If it's that many, do you think it would be more restrictive or less restrictive? What do you think? to me, guys. Don't just sit there, say something. What do you think? What do you think? Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, it's more restrictive because you got more airplanes coming in there and they're going faster and they can run into each other a lot quicker. They're harder to change direction. All of that. Okay? It's like going to a truck terminal with 18 wheelers and you driving around in a Volkswagen Bug. That can create a problem. Okay. You see how it steps down. Okay? The reason for that is this airplane's got to descend to get to that airport. So it's up pretty high right here. Well, by the time it gets this close to the airport, it's got to be down lower. And by the time it gets over here, it's got to be down lower still. So we call that upside down wedding cake. Alright? This airport, Class C, is less restrictive because it's less traffic. And Class D is just, there's a tower, an operational tower, and it is much less restrictive. So, you see down here Class G, I got a guy flying a Super Cub out of Jay, Florida. I'm teaching him how to fly that airplane. And we fly most of the time in Class G. We don't need all of the electronic stuff. In fact, that thing, the only electronic device that thing has in it is a starter. There's no radio, no VOR, no nothing. Just a starter. That's the only thing it draws on the battery, is a starter. And so we can't talk to anybody, we can't transmit our altitude, we can't transmit all of the stuff. So we have to stay out here. We got to stay in this area and stay out of everybody else's way. Alright? And so it stands to reason these are going to be less restrictive. This is the most restrictive, this is the next most restrictive, and this is the least restrictive. Okay.
This is the airspace A through G, except for F. There is no F, not in the United States anyway. And if we start very simply, and I don't want you to get overwhelmed with this because I'm going to move fairly quickly, but this is just an overview. We're going to take each one of these class airspace systems apart and unpack them for you. But just as a way of introduction, look at the top one here. We can see Class A, or Alpha, is a very high airspace. It starts at 18,000 feet. Now that's MSL, and that stands for mean sea level, so 18,000 feet above the sea. And it extends up as high as flight level 60,000. Once we get above 18,000, we put things in terms of what's called flight levels. And we just drop the 2 zeros at the end, so this is in hundreds of feet. We'd add 2 zeros to that, and we get 60,000 feet. So you can bet when you're flying in that airliner, you're up in Class Alpha. Now to be in Class Alpha, you have to be IFR and on an IFR flight plan. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Of course, one thing we learned in the previous sessions, if you joined us, is that above 18,000, all altimeters need to be set as well to 2992. Coming below 18,000 feet, we get into Class E, or Echo airspace. Think of E as everywhere. Everywhere where there isn't a airport. So, Class E, if you're flying somewhere and you're not sure exactly what kind of airspace you're flying in, and you're not near an airport, more than likely, you can be safe to answer Class E.
Okay. I don't want to get too deep into this stuff. It's hard enough to stay awake when you're just skimming over it, but if you get into it, it's a pain. Basically, what I want you to understand is the vast vast means size. The vastness of the airspace system, of the regulations. There's a bunch of them, and they cover a lot of stuff, and they govern your life if you're flying around. It's the same way with the regulations you're living with. We've got regulations for driving, we've got regulations for everything. You need to understand those regulations. You need to know how to find them. You need to know how to read them. You need to understand how they affect your life. If you own a piece of property and you forget to pay your taxes, there is a regulation where some lawyer can go down to the tax office and look around and find somebody in the records that are public and determine whether you have paid your taxes, and if you have not, he can pay it, and you don't know it. And he can repossess your property. And you may have a $300,000 piece of property, and you may owe $700 in taxes. And he pays the $700, now he owns your $300,000 piece of property. And that brings up another subject. That ain't fair. Guess what? Life ain't fair. Ain't nothing fair about life. You gotta make it fair. You gotta be aware of what's going on. So, you need to be aware of the regulations. You need to know what the regulations are. How do you find out? That's where you've got to know how to conduct research. That's where you know how to utilize the internet. And however much Mom will allow you, you use the internet, you can discover a lot of things. And you need to learn about that stuff. So regulations can create a severe problem for you if you don't understand them. And certain people in positions of power can say to you, you violated this regulation. Well, just because that person says it, does that mean you got to say, okay, I'll follow it? No. You need to know what that regulation is. And you're not going to get it out of that person. You're going to need to know where to go to find that regulation. And you're going to need to read that regulation and find out if it does affect you the way that turkey says it does. Just because he says it don't make it right. And he may be very forceful and he may be very convincing. But you find the regulation. And you determine whether you're being treated properly or improperly. It's up to you. That's where these regulations can get you in trouble. How often does it happen? It doesn't happen often. Generally speaking, most people are not out to figure out how to wipe you out or take you or something like that. But you can stumble into a situation where, oops, I got a problem. You need to be aware of what's going on. You need to be able to read and understand the regulation. Okay. I tell you what, I've pretty much achieved my objective with this right here. So why don't we, can we take another little break and then move into the simulator? Or is it lunchtime?
I got about 5 minutes and I'll go get the,
Okay.
Okay.
Let's, okay. As you can see, we're getting near the end of this thing. And there's two things about old men. Old men preach to young men, and young men don't listen. They don't listen. I didn't listen. You're not listening. You know, hey, you're gonna go out there and find out the hard way. I just hope you stay alive. I hope it keeps you out of trouble. And then the other thing about old men, especially in the military, old men send young men to war and get them killed. That's the way it works. That's life. And life sucks on occasion. So, you need, as an individual, you need to understand what's going on. And you need to know how to find out good information, real facts to base your decision upon. Don't just ask somebody. Don't go to the bathroom in the school and ask the guy on the next toilet, hey, what does this mean? Because he doesn't know. Or she. You need to find out. You've got computers available to you to do that. Now your mama is going to determine what you can look at on that computer and what you cannot. So you have to keep that in mind, and that's just something you're going to have to accept. That's the way it works. Just live with it. So you need to research. You need to find out what is best for you. And in this process, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to screw up. Nobody does everything right, except me. No. You're going to make mistakes. Believe me. When you make a mistake, own up to it. Especially in aviation. Because if you make a mistake in that airplane and nobody else out there can see you, and they're depending on the information that you give them, and you stupidly run into somebody, you created a problem. Nobody's going to send you to jail for owning up to a mistake. Now, I've made plenty of them. I've told the controller, I'm wrong. I should be here and I'm not there. I'm somewhere else. And he says to his buddy, that dummy doesn't even know where he is. And he says, Ryder, turn right, blah, blah, blah. And I get straightened out. Own up to your mistakes. Own them. They're yours. When you make them, fix it as best you can, as quick as you can. I have what I call the 4-second rule. Whenever you screw up, the worst part and the worst feeling you're going to have in that screw-up situation is the first 4 seconds. You own up to it, and people are going to say, okay, you're stupid, you did something stupid, now how do we fix it? Let's move on. It took 4 seconds for them to make that decision. So you move on. You've got to own it. If you get punished for it, okay, they're not going to cut your head off, and they're not going to take your birthday away. But live with it. When you do something stupid, admit it and move on. People are going to think more of you, and they're going to hold you as a much better person whenever you admit your mistakes. And you're going to make them. You show me a person not making mistakes, and I'll show you a person that's not very productive. He's not doing anything. And you're going to make a mistake. The more mistakes you make, the more productive you are. So when you start screwing up, figure it out, own up to it, figure out what you got to do to fix it, and fix it. And move on. And don't lay there that night staring at the ceiling and just saying how dumb and stupid you were. because you figure it out. All right. Do we have any questions? Anything at all? Anything? You got anything you want to ask me or lay it on? Come on, you got to have something. What's the question? What are you grinning at? Huh?
I think he likes her.
Any questions?
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
You been back here?
Yeah.
Have you been back here? Put her on pause.
It looks like it's in pause.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Where's my mouse? Where's my mouse? There we
There you
go.
go.
Okay, what you gonna do? The rudder pedals, got your feet on there. When we take off, you steer with your rudder pedals, not this. Okay?
You guys want to come in? So
This is
you
gonna
can
be
see?
right, and that's gonna be left.
Just kind of gather around so you can see.
All right, push right, push right, push left, push right, push center.
Dave. Wow.
Okay, you hitting the brake. Don't hit the brake. Hold on. Just push. Push right,
I wonder when this technology was invented.
push left. Don't push forward, just push. There you go, there you go. Now you get the 60 knots right there. Pull back just a little bit. A little bit. A little bit. Little bit. Little bit. Don't push hard. Don't push hard. Okay, pull back a little bit. A little bit. Relax. 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 Okay? Like that.
Crash the plane.
Okay?
No, do not crash the plane.
Give it a little bit of. Okay? Relax. Turn to your right a little bit. Stop. Stop. Every time you turn, go like this. A little bit. A little bit. Got it? Okay. Right now we're at 1,500, 500 feet and climbing. We just took off from KPNS. That's Pensacola.
I need to catch you. Like, I seriously need to catch you. Crash.
That's where we're at right now.
No, I've never.
Took off runway 17. Okay, level off. There you go. Stop right there.
No. I should call.
We're gonna land. You're gonna land this thing. We're gonna land on runway 10. We're gonna go out about a mile. Level off. When I say level off, see that little orange thing right there? We want that parallel with that white line. We want to level. Okay? We're gonna go straight. We're gonna go down about a mile.
Oh, we
0.9 right now.
11. We'll take it.
Okay. Let's go left a little bit.
I'm trying to get the virtual reality glasses going.
There you go.
I want to
Good
politely
more.
crash this plane.
A little bit more.
Politely crash the plane. Politely.
The good
Level
thing
off.
about this
Level off.
crashing.
You're alive.
That orange line,
Get
that
out,
white
get
line,
back
level off.
in, hit the reset
That's
button,
right.
and go again.
Perfect, perfect.
It's like a video game. Politely.
We're gonna turn back
It's like you're
around.
actually
We're
using
gonna land on
things that
runway
was real.
8 right
So I
there.
can
We're gonna go out about another, about 2 miles.
Are you guys all together or a group
About 2
of?
miles.
Oh, dance guys.
Level. That's true.
We can politely.
I bet you out dance tomorrow, don't you? You got it, man. Yeah, man. Hey, Navarro, quick question. I can't find the cursor on VR.
Yeah.
No. Can you pause that right quick? Just take a look at it.
Why don't you get hurt now?
Okay, well, yeah.
She's gonna land on runway 8.
On 8?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, mama. Wait, I gotta get my glasses. Hang on, just keep flying. Just keep flying.
Crash the plane. No. Politely crash the plane.
Do a nosedive.
Yeah, politely crash the No, don't crash. You'll pull up at last minute like wood. Yeah. Politely do it. Like literally just like dip the plane. But like don't go back out.
Alrighty. Here we go. I gotta get my glasses. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn right. Okay, we're gonna turn slowly, slow. Turn slow and easy. Pull back just a little bit. What we're gonna go back to the left. A little bit.
I'm going to go like
Hold it right there. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Hold it. See how smooth that is? Nice and smooth. Okay. And then you can see over here, if you got the wing down too far, you can't see that means your turn is too tight. Okay. So we're gonna hold that. We're gonna watch our GTN 750. We're gonna keep turning until we want. Oh, this thing never gonna work for me. Yeah, whatever. So this little arrow right here, we want it pointing right at that runway 08. Okay. So once we get it there, we pretty much have it there now. Straighten up. Straighten up. Okay, now here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and dump it. Okay, now we're gonna push down a little bit. And there's runway 08 right there. Okay. Alright. What we're gonna do, not too fast, we're not gonna go too fast.
I'm going to play the crash.
And this button right here.
It's either going to register another plane or a helicopter, or I just
Turn. Don't move it.
Yeah.
I'll go
Hold it right there.
straight down.
You should go right
So
over.
right there, we're gonna lose some altitude. So we're at 2,300
Okay,
feet.
I kind of want to
So we need
crash.
to get down some more. So we're going down too fast. So we're gonna
Go
pull
right
back
above
just a little bit.
Okay, put in
That's the other, just like that.
When you want to crash the plane, are you going to
We're
crash
gonna keep
the
turning till we lose altitude. We're gonna bring this needle right here all the way back around and have it pointed at runway 08.
Well, should I crash into another plane? Or should I just go straight down?
This is not hard to do at all. So don't get nervous. Just
Yeah, it's the
listen.
Twin Towers.
No, I can't do that. No, you have to do the triplet towers. Okay, but I could just crash into a
Okay,
helicopter.
so
or
we're down now to
I don't know
1,700.
should I crash into
That's gonna be
another plane?
1,600 and 1,500,
Okay, I will.
1,500. We're gonna get around about 1,000 feet, okay? And we're gonna turn back this way, coming, okay? Let's pull back just a little bit back, okay? Let's go about right there. We're gonna add a little power, okay? Not too fast, not too fast. Alright. Now see our plane is coming around. We got that long dotted line right there. Once you see it getting towards, what happened? God, everything is going crazy. Why? That's okay. We don't need it. What
Maybe
we're
you
gonna
should.
do? Yeah, straighten up. Okay. Alright. Now, there's the airport right there. See it? Push it down a little bit. That's the airport right there. Okay, we're gonna head straight that way. This right here is your, don't let it fall. You don't want to go down too fast. That's your runway right there. Right there, the point of it, okay? So what we gotta do now is we're gonna drop a notch of flaps. We're gonna use this button. And you look out here, you see those flaps? Yeah, whatever. So let's come back down. And we'll kind of help you through this. And we're gonna keep going. Push in a little bit. We're gonna ease our way to that runway, okay?
She's almost done.
And
She's almost
Like
done.
I watch you crash the plane.
okay?
Thanks.
This is called a trim button. Okay.
I think it'll take you a while to get to New York.
Yes, I'm gonna crash into the same helicopter.
We're gonna keep coming around. We're gonna watch our altitude. We're at 500 feet, okay?
Which one? No, I notice what I'm going to. I'm
We're
right
gonna drop
So you
another
want
notch of
tailwinds?
flaps, and then we're gonna turn, we're gonna line up on the runway.
crash into
Then you have to watch when you drop
Yes.
flaps, the nose will rise on
Go
you.
straight above
Okay?
it and go straight down.
If
You'll probably be able to find it probably next to a giant H, which is help engines for help
Okay,
here.
not too much, not too hard.
I might I might do that if there's like no other planes in the sky.
See how I just pull it real slight,
You can find this place.
and it'll just come back up, bounce off. Down a little bit. Okay.
Like I don't know if this is
Doing good.
voodoo.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Could be voodoo for all I know.
You see the little lines of like piano keys right there? That's what we call them. And once we get over the piano keys, we're going to kill the throttle. Okay, ooh, we close to the treetops. All right. Now, all right. Once we get over the piano keys, we're going to kill the throttle. Okay. All right. Now, let it float right down. Okay, closer you get. Now, don't jerk, don't jerk, don't jerk. Just let it be. I don't know, you're jerking. Don't jerk, don't jerk. Don't jerk, don't jerk. You just landed an airplane.
Yes, welcome.
Good
Slay.
Good job.
Good job.
All right.
Awesome.
Is there any other like planes or helicopters in this?
Yeah, but the way this is built is actually built for this particular plane. So if you put any other airplane on there, you can. If you do, the instrumentation is not going to be right. It's not going to look right.
Okay.
Yeah, we wouldn't have her anyway, but she's still moving.
Wait, how
Push
are
your
you
brakes.
seven?
Slide
We're gonna
your feet
go
up,
in.
push your brakes.
Riley is
How?
getting ready to take off.
I'm going.
Y'all don't get it. Y'all don't go. Y'all
Here's
have
what
to
we're going to
do
do.
this thing.
Okay. Now, when we give it gas, it's going to take off pretty fast. Okay. And it's going to want to jerk to the either to the left or the right. What you got to do, as soon as you see it moving to the left, you put right pedal in. As soon as you straighten up, you ease the right
their
pedal out.
former Miss History.
You ready?
Everyone
Here we
critical
go. Little right
thinking.
pedal. Little right pedal. Little right pedal. Right pedal. Right pedal.
And then I had Miss Kane
So
for
when
now.
No.
So when you
Relax your feet back down.
Miss
Okay.
Rush for
start
ELA.
flying, are you what period? Wait, can I get the other
Yeah.
flying?
Oh yeah, for
Yeah. Good. Okay. Let's right pedal. Right pedal. Right
I
pedal.
did exactly
Stop.
what
Stop.
I
Stop.
said. Because if
Stop.
you had
Too
one
much.
on there and I was
Oh,
Right
yeah.
left. Right left.
Yeah, my friend was in there. She's like, why is it so loud?
I did exactly what I
Just
said.
let it go straight, just like that. When that gets to 60 knots, right there at 60, you're gonna pull back on this real gentle, okay? Hands
You're
up.
not even flying it. Yeah.
Pull back, just start
I'm a
pulling back
steering
real
wheel.
gentle, real gentle. There you go. Now, there you go.
Riley's taking off the ground.
Yes, Riley. What are you doing? Are you gonna crash into something too?
You should just fly
I
right
want
now.
you-
Fly right
I
now.
want your heels down here. Put your heels right there. Slide your feet down.
I love how I had a crowd in here and I was
Okay,
crashing.
now go like this.
You didn't even crash
Push
into it
back.
though, but hopefully it still made some damage.
Pedal.
Yeah.
Hopefully it
Push,
did
come on.
damage.
Push.
But we get to compare
Not
again.
that,
I'm trying
not
to
that.
crash into
Just
the
slow,
groove.
slow, real slow.
Yeah.
Push it in and out. That's how you drive the airplane. This does nothing on the ground. Okay?
Just turn.
That's called a yoke. That turns in the air. Now, when we take off, what's going to happen is when I give it throttle, the airplane's going to want to go to the left or the right. Okay? If it goes to the left, you want to slide the right pedal. Okay? You don't want to do this. Okay? If you do, you're going to be all over the runway. You want to ease it in. Okay? If I say right pedal, you ease the right pedal in.
This right, that's left, right.
Yep, this is right over here, left over there. When I say neutral, you let it go back to the middle.
For some reason, the
Now, what we're going to
1970s
do is
song
we're going to
really
get to
used
60
it
knots.
in my head.
It's going to be our takeoff speed. 60 knots, what you're going to do is you're going to ease back. Not that, that's too much. Just ease back. Let the nose come up. When the nose comes up, you push forward a little bit and hold the nose.
Right now,
Okay?
y'all.
You ready? All right.
God, go ahead.
Oh, right.
Pull them away from each other.
Release the brake and off you go. All right, then. Stop. Okay. Keep it straight. Don't turn that. It's not going to do it. Okay, all right, that's easy right there. Stop. See how well you're keeping it down the center of the runway. That's great. Watch your airspeed. 60 knots. Pull back just a little bit now. That's a little bit more. A little bit more. Go back. took off by herself. Turn the yoke. Guess what? Yeah, I thought it was. Alright, look. Slow you down a little bit here, then I'm going to show you how to do a turn, okay? See the top of this? The top of this right there. Now, what we're going to do is straighten up and make a turn. We turn
I
to the
still
right.
hit it like
And as we turn to the right, we're going to pull back just a little bit.
Jump in and go.
We're going to stop turning right there. We're going to hold what we got. Go back to the left a little bit. Back to the left a little bit. Go back a little bit. That's a perfect turn. See? Oh, okay, you straighten up.
I do a circle. I'm also not
Yeah.
playing. I'm a terrorist.
Just turn easy. Turn easy. Stop turning. Stop turning.
Become.
You should be a Navy SEAL.
Alright, let's go back.
Or maybe
Here's
be
what you
alive.
wanna do.
I'm gonna go. I'm trying to trust in myself.
Now,
become
when you
professional
turn,
airplane
once you
crasher.
start to turn,
Yes, I should. You
the
should
airplane
become
starts to
the
lean. Look out here.
Abraham cheese
If your wing
sandwich.
looks like that, that's too much.
Or
It's
George
just too steep.
Washington.
Too steep. Go back.
Or teddy bear was.
Okay, stop. Go back a little bit more. Stop. If your wing looks like that, or you can see like that, you're good. Okay? If it's anything other than that, then you're too steep, you're gonna crash. Don't push your rudder pedals because it's gonna move your tail. Yeah. Okay. Oh, slow and easy. Slow and easy on everything. See if I pull that a little bit, see how the nose starts to come up? If I push it in a little bit, the nose starts to go down. That's all you need to do.
Holy yeah.
You hit my
What
arm.
we're gonna do is we're gonna go down.
Why are you?
Turn left.
Don't be so animals eat each other.
Stop turning. Hold that. Back a little bit more.
We got Jasmine on the flight simulator over here.
The 750 disappeared.
Yeah. Straighten up. You gotta get away from the back. You gotta get away from the runway. See, that's our runway to the left. We're gonna come back to that runway. That's the runway.
Would you like, we videotape all the children, would you like a copy of this?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
I'll put it on DVD and I can bring it to you.
And I'm definitely gonna share your information with all the parents when they
You don't
pick
have
up.
to do
You
this.
were hitting.
And I'll post some of the videos I took to our social media too. And do you guys have like a social media
We're on
website?
We're on Facebook,
Okay.
Warrington Youth Flight Simulation.
And I'll just kind of say check them out on Facebook and when I post it to
Right there for a
Instagram.
second.
I can do one even better. Do you have an email address?
I do, yeah.
It's ABCD.
Okay, let's turn left. Nice and easy. Slow turn. There you go. Go back just a little bit. Just like that. Just stay just like that.
There you go.
Don't go. Don't turn anymore. Stop turning. Stop
Right on
turning.
there.
Stop turning. Stop turning. Okay, right there. Let's stay right there. Now we're gonna find the runway. Give the throttle for a little bit. And we're gonna find the runway. We're gonna go in there real smooth, like, okay? Pull back just a little bit. Okay. Just straighten up. Let's go straight.
Yeah.
There you go. My name
There's runway right there.
That's right. Okay.
That's cool. That's okay.
And I'll email you. You can have mine.
Thank you.
So how long you been there?
Well, I just moved into that space, so this is the first week that I've had students in there.
Oh.
And then next week starts my
Look
official
ahead.
dance
Come on.
class.
Look ahead. Look ahead.
So not very long.
That's good. Yes, it's good. You're in shape.
Push down a little bit.
That's your studio.
I am technically making it.
Just push down a little bit.
You're gonna have to take over family business.
Okay, we're gonna do a smooth landing.
Now, she didn't have any desires to wreck into any schools or anything, did she?
Okay,
Do we know?
back out. Come down.
Oh yeah, she's gonna make it. She's gonna make it.
Just right in the center. Right in the center. Come down a little bit.
She might land.
Say when you wake up in the morning, you never know.
Don't tense up. Don't tense
No,
up.
no.
You're on a perfect approach. Don't tense up.
You know, it's in store.
I'm like the smartest one here.
Tense up.
Oh yeah, she got it.
Tense up.
It's gonna be perfect. You got it.
Tense up. Don't tense up.
You got it.
Land, you can do it. Come on,
There you go.
Jasmine.
No, don't tense. Don't tense. Don't tense. Don't tense. Let it float. Let it float. Let it float. Let it float.
That's it.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
That's my turn. At least I landed it, Riley.
Huh?
She landed
Hey,
it.
look at it this way. Any landing you walk away from is a good landing.
That's right.
Oh,
Let me
you
get this
got
thing turned around here.
It does look familiar. Did you get to fly yet?
No, she took my turn.
Will you guys maybe let's look for rocks before we
Hey, Bill.
You got
Huh?
2 minutes.
You got one more person, man. They got to split.
Okay. All right, get it turned around right quick.
Okay.
Hey, get the keyboard straighten this out. We're crooked for some reason.
They're gonna look for a pet rock while you fly.
I'm the flying
That's
turtle.
it.
Okay, who's flying?
This young man right here. What's your name?
Quentin.
Clinton?
Quentin.
Quentin? Okay.
Okay, Quentin, come on, buddy.
Waiting with the cue.
All right, pull the chair, feet on the pedal, and pull the chair up comfortably. So you comfortable?
You want to put that
Pull the chair.
750 in there, or?
Okay.
We don't need it.
Nah,
Okay.
we will just go.
It disappeared. did it?
Go ahead and slide your feet all the way up. Now push forward. Just tilt your toes to forward. That's the brakes, okay? Now come back, slide your feet down all the way down till your heels touch the bottom of this. No. Slide your foot down. Foot. Okay. Now I want you to do this. That's how you control it on the ground. Okay. That has nothing to do with this. You don't deal with this until we get in the air, okay? When I push the throttle up, it's going to want to jerk to the left or right. What you got to do is slide in the pedal. That's if you're going to the right, you want to slide left pedal. To the left, you want to slide right pedal. You don't want to do this. If you don't, the airplane is going to be all over the place, okay? So when I say left pedal, and if I say neutral, let it slide back to the middle. Got it? Okay, you ready? All right, buddy, here we go.
Remember, you don't steer with your hands right now,
You
Quentin.
don't steer with your hands.
It's your feet.
Just your feet. Right pedal, right, easy right pedal. Just stop. Right, just like that. See how easy it was with the right pedal, stop. Okay, put your hand on the yoke. 60 knots. We're gonna pull
Looks better like this.
pull back a little bit. Pull back, just easy back. Easy. No, I knew you were gonna do that. Everybody does that for some reason. Okay, you're in the air, my friend. Okay, let's get a little altitude. See this right here? I want you to keep it even with this right here. Okay, let's turn right a little bit. Okay, back right, ease it up. There we go. Hold it right there. Hold it right there. Let it climb a little. Get a little altitude. Then we're going to go left, come back around, and see if we can get it on the ground. Okay. We're going to turn left, tilt a little bit, okay? Then we're going to pull back just a little bit, and we're going to stop turning. Look out your left window there and see you turn. Nice turn. Don't turn anymore. Just let it float around. Pull your nose back just a little bit. Come back to the right a little bit. Stop right there. Okay? That's a nice turn right there. Smooth turn, nice smooth turn. Okay, we get the base of the water that way. To the north, we're gonna straighten up.
Got a shot right here.
Okay, roll back. Just like that, and push down, get that nose down, just right about that. Straighten out. There's the airport to the left. We're gonna go to this runway right here, okay? We'll get around that runway, then we're gonna get right to the right.
Okay, we gotta get right now.
Just a little bit. Okay? Throttle down just a little bit. Okay, don't let the nose fall. Don't let it fall. Go there. Easy. There you go, right there. Okay, back to the left a little bit. Slow, stop.
Alright.
Yeah, he would do good. He would do good.
You ever thought about getting simulators software put on your computer? Like FSX, the one we have on the desktop software?
Okay. Let's go left. Remember, slow. Pull back just a little bit as you turn. Pull back just a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's the old
Bring the
line.
nose up and stop turning.
Extreme, so
There we go.
pretty extreme, I think.
So you got a nice turn you're on the help. You're still turning. Don't do that. Back a little bit. Back. Not too
On there
much.
before you're,
Just bring the wing up. There's our runway right there, see? Look at, you look. There's our runway right there. That's what we're going for. That's what we're shooting for right there. Okay, down a little bit. Down. Slowly down. There you go. Stop it. Right there. Just keep flying. Just like that. Until we get away from the runway. Then we're going to turn towards it. Okay? We don't want to build too much altitude, so we want to keep that down. Airspeed's good. We got 80 knots. The airport's at our tail, so what we're going to do...
So what's the gauge on the far left at the top?
that's the airspeed indicator.
Okay, and
That's
then
the attitude indicator. That's the one that
like
Okay.
shows if you're
Oh, what
level,
you got?
kind of.
Okay.
And then altitude, is the
altitude,
third one.
altimeter, and then one to that, the right,
This button right here,
VOR
take your thumb
indicator.
and push it down.
Use that for directions.
That's the
Okay.
flaps, and the nose
That's
is
the
going to
bank
come up and hit
indicator,
the flaps,
the left,
okay? So,
then the,
all right, now
heading
we're gonna
indicator.
straight down.
That's the main
No,
one
no,
for
don't.
navigating.
Oh, what are
Then
you
got the
doing,
vertical
dude?
speed
Yeah,
indicator,
look. Get that button
and the
off.
VOR indicator.
Okay, cool.
Digital ones in the center is your radio stack,
Man, he's just all over these flaps.
and then that one to the right, that's the
Okay.
G1000.
As you run, that's the end of your runway right there. Okay, so we're going to turn into there. Let the nose drop just a little bit. Let it drop. Right there.
Now, what kind of like radio system do they use? Is it still like CV or is it different for in the air?
Start
much
turning
different.
right into
Really?
Right into the
Or,
runway. Just like that. Stop turning. A little bit more.
I don't know what you ever heard police radio?
Mm-hmm.
It's similar to that.
Okay, straight up. Straight.
A lot of
Turn back.
specific jargon and terminology.
Okay.
Very
If you do this on
specific.
landing, you sit this thing down.
It's,
Let's turn a little bit
it's not
more.
polite, it's quick and to the point.
Easy in there.
You know,
Okay,
the
1200
sentence
feet.
structure is
Come on,
not important,
look.
it's key words.
Okay.
Stop turning. Just hold it right there. Right there. Right there. Perfect. Back to the right a little bit.
1,000 feet.
1,000 feet. We're good.
Man's doing pretty good.
Okay.
It is.
Right there. Keep it straight. Keep it straight.
Let's see if you can land this plane.
Stop turning. Stop turning. Let it ease
Yeah,
right.
the,
You want to put the middle
more-
of this.
more so from Ryan.
The middle of the runway.
And
Okay.
once he's
So you straighten up a little bit. Okay.
Height
Now we're gonna turn some more. Line it up. Pull it back a little bit.
500 feet.
I was thinking about running out there and picking up that gear.
Height 400
It'd take
feet.
me about 35, 40 minutes.
We'll be here, but you don't have to do that much. Just
I'd like to, I want to do that. I've been meaning to do it, I haven't done it, it's driving me nuts.
we'll be here, sir. We ain't going
Height
nowhere.
300
Don't
feet.
run off.
I'll be here.
I'll be back here in a few minutes.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be 35, 40 minutes.
Okay. We'll be here. Is there parents meter
It'll
at
be
3?
before 3 o'clock.
Height 200 feet.
All right.
Height 100 feet.
All right.
Might do better than me, bud.
Come back.
Height
Come
50
back.
feet.
Don't freak out on me. Don't freak out on
It's
me.
a critical point.
Let it flow. 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 Let
Over
it flow.
control.
Let it
That's it.
Height
You always
2
do
feet.
that.
All right. At least you got it down. wheel.
That was
All right,
good.
man. Good job.
Any landing you walk away from is a good landing, my friend.
Skirt.
Okay, get your brakes. Oh, you already doing it, so. Okay, good job.
Very good,
Yeah.
Quentin.
See, a couple of days with him, dude, and he would be on the money. I'm
Oh,
telling
well.
you. I'm telling you.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
That
sir.
was
Good job,
really
man.
cool.
I'll email you later on.
Yes, please do.
Get you to land this thing some more. Oh, GTN show. I don't know how that went away, but it went away. All right. We're just gonna do some touch and goes. You need to work on your takeoff and landings.
Yeah.
Number one thing, don't jerk it.
You can be confused with that.
Huh? What, VR?
No, the simulators.
Oh, the ones on the desktop? Yeah, it's the same. The only difference is you're using the yoke instead of a control stick. Okay, let me take this off of pause. Okay, we ain't gonna do no navigation, nothing. Just take this bad boy up. Give some gas. Remember, steer with your feet. Put the brake on. There you go. Number one thing is, this makes it so similar to trim it. Remember the trim wheel on your left thumb? Huh? Okay, let's level off right now. Take your left thumb, right there, that's it, that's the trim wheel. Let go of the joystick. Let go of the joystick. Now trim it, pull down, with your left, pull the other way, the other way. That's how you level it off. That's really how you fly. You don't want to be doing all this stuff here. All that. Once you get it level, you trim it. All you do is turn it right and left. That's it. You don't need to push and pull anymore. Okay, we're going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go straight down and we're going to land on runway 26, okay? Go down for about a mile, maybe 2 miles. We're 0.7. When we get to 2 miles out, right here, we get to 2 miles out, we're going to turn it around, we're going to land on 26. Give me a chair, relax. I ain't gonna touch nothing. This is all you, man. Huh? Okay, man, where you at? Where you at? Okay, we're 2 miles out, right? Okay, yeah. Turn that baby around. We're gonna land on that runway. What's our altitude right now?
Oh.
800 feet. If you're not too familiar with this, you can use that over there. That gives you the altitude and how fast you're going. See where you at on? We're gonna hit runway 26. You got it going? Okay. Okay, man. We'll start pull back on your power. Pull your power down. Remember, one notch of flaps. The right stick, the lever, pull down on that lever. One notch of flaps. Pull it down. Oh, flaps ain't working? That's weird. Okay. You have to land without them. Get that nose centered with that runway, the one to the left. Get it over there. Get it over there. We gotta get you on here, Mariah. You gotta get this thing, you gotta land this thing today.
This one?
You're doing good, man. Watch your altitude. Give some gas. Give some gas. You coming down, look, you ain't gonna make it from there. There you go. Hold that. Hold that. Hold that. Give some more gas. More gas. So you can make it to that runway. There you go. And now you can pull back on your power. See what I mean? You're almost there. Pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back, pull back. Give some more gas, more gas. A little bit more gas, just a little bit. There you go. There you go. Perfect, man. See you flying it in. Pull your power back. Pull your power back. Pull your power back. Don't pull on the stick no more. That's how you land, man. That's a perfect landing, man. See what you just did? That's how you land. He landed on the 2 wheels. That's how you land. He flew it in too. He flew it with the motor. You're all right. Oh, we're sweating. Oh, did good, bro. Okay, let Mariah get in there. You did good, man. That's how you land. That's how you land. He did good. That's one of the best ones. You did good, man. I'm proud of you. You did good. Did it, Mariah? Go. Yeah, he flew it in. Yeah, we use throttle management. All right.
Checklist completed. All systems ready for
All you. Give you a little bit of nose there.
Yeah, I was wondering where it was at.
Yeah, you always got to do it every time you reset it. You know, you build one of these and put it in your house. Real simple. Hey, how you doing there? All right. Oh, you're the lady I talked on the phone. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm glad we did.
We had her on the scene a while ago, and we left the room and just let her fly by herself. A lot of times we discover really murders. But we told her, fly around, come back and move on around this hole. So we snuck in there to watch her without saying anything. She was coming down for a landing, and she realized that she wasn't going to make the landing, she was too high. And she thought about it, she got smart, she went around. It's perfect. That's what she's supposed to do. You didn't have to tell her. You didn't have to say anything to her. She went around. That's the way it is. They have both. I'm so proud. They have both done fantastic.
What was that beat?
Top of altitude. We got an altitude set for 4,000. So when you're almost at when you're at 4,000, I'll let you know. 4,000, 4,000, crash 4,000.
I'm about to go and make this.
Huh?
I didn't lower myself at all, so I didn't do that. And I mean, there's a runner right there, and I got it.
Well, this time we were stressing a lot of stuff. We were really disappointed that we failed this club. We couldn't take them out there. Working on school like this. Finally got this figured out in life.
Yeah.
So this trim wheel works.
Yeah. That's really, in reality, that's the one you're supposed to use. But
I like this one.
it's a lot, I know it's a lot easier. You don't have to sit there and in reality, the newer planes, they have it on the yoke. So that's the one they use. The older planes, the trim wheel is in the ceiling. It's up here. Yeah, you're like,
So you have
forget that mess. I mean, if you can afford a new plane, yeah, but if you know, basic plane, you're gonna have a trim wheel in the center, the ceiling. I keep forgetting to take that off of there. For it says the maximum cruise speed is actually about 140. So don't listen to it.
I'm not.
Yeah. The same thing, the flaps, you can let flaps down at 100 knots, not 80. I gotta delete that file out. I already did delete that file for the flaps, yeah. Which runway you coming in on?
7. Trying to get on runway 26. I keep getting that mixed up as with the stall warning.
With the what?
The stall warning. Like every time that happens, I think it's the stall warning.
Warning. Maximum speed reached. Warning. Maximum speed reached.
26, you got them on.
Speed reached. Warning. Maximum speed reached.
Underhill, District 2, yeah.
Flight 3,000 feet.
Underhill gave us some stuff when we first started. He gave us 2 computers here. 2. That one right there. And another one, it's already gone now. It burnt up, but that one still burned. The one where the gentleman said he gave us that one.
Warning. Maximum cruise speed reached.
Coming in on 2.6 million?
Yes.
Okay.
I think I might miss it again. I don't even
You can make that. All you gotta do is pull your power back. Pull your power back and start turning. What's your altitude?
Warning. Speed
I
reached.
think I'm about
3,000?
yeah.
You gotta let it come on down, that's all. You can always do what they call a pattern. If you gotta lose some altitude, just circle in one place. That's the lead off some altitude. You don't have to come down.
So I
See where you're at? If you feel you're still high, just do another circle. Come on down, keep circling.
no, I feel like I'm gonna kind of go that way instead of on the actual runway.
You're kind of high right there. You need to circle again. You're too high, man. Do a pattern. Circle around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Yeah, you
this.
lead off some altitude. Yeah, just lead off some altitude. You circle around. Keep coming down.
Warning. Maximum cruise speed reached.
Pilots do it all the time. I forgot to tell you guys that. Just lose altitude that way.
I'm at 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at 2,000.
Yeah, you need to be about 1,500 because you're pretty close to that runway.
I'm about to be around at. This is just me talking.
Mm-hmm.
This is just me talking.
Go ahead.
I don't think I've jerked it once right on this.
You haven't. I haven't seen you jerk it. And don't forget about your flaps. Who's all these, your brothers and cousins? All these little kids?
Those are my brothers.
You got a bunch of them.
How many of them? Just two?
You got some little kids here too.
That might be, is it a
Okay,
girl
well,
and
forget
then a
them.
boy?
Look at the runway. There's some flaps, man. Remember some flaps? You're too high. You're too high. You ain't gonna make that. You gotta shoot that up. When you come in for a land, you need to be at least a good mile out. You're gonna land at the center of the runway. They shoot that off and just do it all over again. Go back, go all the way back, and then start your base. Take your flaps, put your flaps up, give it gas and get out of there. And you don't have to land on 2.6 if you don't want to. You can land any runway you want on. But just make sure you got enough time. You're too steep. You're too steep. Pull up, man. You got me throwing up. I'm throwing up my lunch. I'm throwing up my lunch, Isaiah. Isaiah, I'm throwing up my lunch, man. You're too steep. Huh?
I'm trying to turn this.
You're too steep. I done passed out already. Okay.
It's the one.
You can't hit that runway. Which way are you going for now? Which runway?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna try to go this way.
All the way down to the other end?
Yeah. So
Okay. Make sure you go down far enough now. At least 2 miles out. At least 2 miles out. Your flying is good. It's just you're too close to you're cutting your approach too short. Keep parallel with that runway. Keep parallel. Remember Skip said keep parallel with that runway. Keep parallel with that runway. No, you're going too close. Keep parallel. Go to the left. Parallel. There you go. You want to be straight. Which one you going to land on?
the other side of 26.
26.
So the other side of 26.
Oh, okay.
8.
Okay. You need to go that way some more, man. You're too close.
That way?
I'm kind of lost. Turn that thing. Just go turn somewhere. The other way. Go to your right. Go to your left, my bus. Your left, your left. You can go farther out that way. Go farther out that way. Farther out that way. More to the left. More to the left. There you go. Keep going left. Keep going left. There you go. Keep going left. What we're going to do, we're going to come out here and turn that joke around and go straight in. You see what I'm saying? Now straight down, straight down. Keep going out. Right there. Now start your turn, go to the right. To your right. You start pulling down your altitude and you want to come in right there. Go back on your power. All you're doing is turning. Just turning that joker around. So you see the runway. You should go straight on in there. You should see it. I'm gonna darken it so you can't see it. Oops.
Well, I see right there.
There you
Go
go.
straighten up.
Lose some altitude. Pull back on your power. Nose down. Nose down, nose down. Flaps, 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 flaps. More. Nose down, nose down, nose down, nose down. Let it come down.
Because you're trying to
You
lean.
got time. You got time. Get it center. Get it center. Get it center now. Let it come down some wise. Yeah. Flap down. Flap down. Flap down. Nose down. Nose down. You got time. Nose down. Nose down. Get it center. Get it center. Nose down. Nose down. Nose down. The trim. Push it forward. Trim. Push it forward. Push it forward. There you go. Get it center. Get it center now. To your left. Center. 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 Put your power all the way down. We can still make that. There you go. If you land in the center of the runway, you got it. There you go. No, you're not. Nose down. Nose down. Nose down. There you go. You come in that steep. Yeah. Alright, when you get almost, there you go. Start flaring. There you go. There you go. You trim it. There it is. Hold right there. Hold it right there. Let it come on down. Start trimming some more. There you go. Pull up a little bit. Pull back a little bit. Just a little bit. Don't pull back. Don't pull back. You bounced it, but that's good. If you're going to pull back, you're going to float it. Stay with your feet. Who's behind me?
Just Mariah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that is her Mariah's sister.
Okay, let Mariah get back in there one more time. This is it. You got to do it. Come on there, girl. You got to land this thing now. Huh? All right. This is it, Mariah. You're going to do it. You did everything. I'm going to walk away. You did everything perfect. The only thing you did the last time, you were too close to the runway. That's why you overshot. Just go farther out. When you get on your final, you need to go farther out about 3 miles. Then start your final. If you got to go way out, that's fine.
That's what I just got.
That's why we're here. Suppose it's over. It's not that far. Hey, it's good. Wow. Yeah, so you're 2.7 knots off that runway. You're too close. At 5,000 feet, you need to be about, shoot, 9 miles out or 10 miles out. So you can either go for that runway down there or turn back around, whichever. You're just too close on your final. Okay. You're doing good. Hey, you are doing good. It's just your approach. You're always too high. That's it. Looking good. Pull back on your power now.
Can you have some?
Go ahead. Pull back on your power. There you go. Pull back. Pull it down.
All the way down?
You tell me. You fly it in there. Just fly it in there. I'm not going to tell you nothing. You need to come down some more, though. You're too high. There you go. There you go. Pull it down some more. Pull it down some more. Your power. There you go. Pull it down some more. Right there. That's the sound you should have when you're coming into the land. Because if you're short, you can always give it more power. You're looking good. Walking away, when I come back, you should have this thing landed.
Height 500 stable, unstable. Option, taxiway. Height 100 feet. Height 25.
Okay, you got it down, huh?
All right, good landing. Just let it roll. I know your grandparents ready to go, so we're gonna go ahead and get you guys out of here. Come on.
Good. Good.
Just let it roll. Good job.
See, I don't need to be standing behind you no more. That's what it is. That's all it is.